Love it.
All right, go.
10, 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it.
10, 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. And we will leave you with a... I can't do it. We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks again for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy Lou Martinez, aka Big Chief Burrito, live with you on a Tuesday. Fireside Chats with Big Chief Burrito, the 2 a.m. Burrito podcast, recording live, coming at you live from the Burrito Lounge. We got Mr. Baxter in the background, and I think we got, I'm not going to move my camera, I don't want to get out of focus, but we got Oso in the back as well. Hispanic, is that what we're calling it? Hispanic Heritage Month, LatinX Heritage Month. I've heard Latine with an E, Heritage Month. Call it what you will, but, you know, we're supposed to be celebrating heritage this month. So we're going to try to talk a little bit about stuff like that, and kind of even talk about that topic. What should we be calling ourselves? The one thing I don't like is when, you know, somebody says Latinx, and immediately people that don't identify or don't like using the term are like, just why do you call us Latinx? Why do you say that? Stop saying that. That's not a real word. Blah blah blah. This and that. And it's, I get it. I don't identify as Latinx. I identify as Latino. I've always identified Latino. I think I'll continue to. But it doesn't take anything more than an extra 3 seconds of my time when I say Latino or Hispanic to say Latino, Latinx. It's not that big of a deal. And if I can help make, like, you know, 0.3% of the Latin population feel a little bit more comfortable by saying that, then, you know, it's not that big of a deal. Relax. So I understand when people are against it. You don't have to identify. You can do whatever you want. But, you know, let people be people and let people identify as they want to. Thank you for everybody that is tuning in live. We did our first 50 episodes of this new podcast within the last year and a half. And, you know, we took a little break, obviously, because you can't be on it 24/7. You got to get yourself time to breathe. The podcast and the stream has been growing little by little. People have told me that, you know, the things that they like, the things that they don't like about it. I think they like the conversations that I have with interesting people, but they also feel that some of the topics that we do have necessarily don't pertain to everybody. Moving forward, you know, my idea was always for the 2 a.m. Burrito podcast to be more of a weekly just take on what's happening in the world, more like pop culture, reacting to stuff that's happening. I always saw that as myself and Sofia as my co-host, Kenneth as well. And then fireside chats with Big Chief Burrito, I guess, is more when I take the time to do an in-depth interview with specific people. That's kind of more when I'm doing my solo thing. And then when it's something specifically film related, film content, at the beginning of the pandemic, I started creating content under the umbrella or under the brand Ed Wood Film School. So anything that I do that's sort of like geared towards young filmmakers or indie filmmakers, even if it's talks about certain filmmakers, directors, filmographies, those will be Ed Wood Film School. My interviews will continue to be fireside chats with Big Chief Burrito when I interview interesting people and talk about their journey. And this today, and the big umbrella, because that's the brand, that's the company right up here, will be the 2 a.m. Burrito podcast. And my official co-host of the 2 a.m. Burrito podcast is the one and only Sofia Carrillo.
Hola,
Hola.
hello. How are
Hey,
you?
happy belated Bi Visibility Day.
Thank you. What was that like last week?
I was like, but then I thought it was like 3 months ago. There was another one. There was a bi day, right? There was like a.
I don't honestly, I'm the worst bisexual. Like I didn't know my friend had to send like she was like happy bi day. I was like, "What? It's cool. Thank you."
Thank you for. By the way, thank you.
Yikes. But
uh, so, first thing I want to talk about in terms of Latin or Hispanic Heritage Month is why it starts in the middle of the month. And somebody, when I posted it on Twitter, said it's because we're late for everything. And I thought, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I didn't want
that's
to I didn't want
fair.
to make say that. I was like, is that the reason why it starts in September 15th? I mean, but then I also noticed that the official Pride month
Mm-hmm.
is July, right? Or is it June?
June is the official.
June.
San Diego does it late, so we do it like a month late in July.
Okay, so that was it because there's Pride, and then San Diego keeps going for like another month
Yeah,
afterwards.
we keep
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
It's
San
crazy.
San Diego was like 2 months of Pride.
I was thinking it might be because it starts on Mexican Independence Day. And tell me if that's offensive to you, who a non-Mexican.
I don't know. I think that one of the things that sort of affects the discourse or affects the conversation between Latinos, Chicanos, whatever you want to consider yourself, is that even though I guess we're supposed to be la raza or more togetherness,
Mhm.
there's still people that like California Chicanos, like they want to keep that. You know what I mean? They don't necessarily want Chicano heritage and like Mexican pride to get lumped in with Latinos, Latinas, and I think that's why some of the pushback from the Mexican community is they don't want to be erased by people saying Latinx by lumping all
Mhm.
Latinos and beaners, so to speak, into the same group. They say, well, yeah, I don't want to be considered Latinx because we're from Central America, and we're Mexican, and and Texas and California used to be ours, so we don't
Mhm.
want we don't necessarily it's not like chusma like get away Colombian, but it's but at certain
I know
levels
what
they
you're
are.
saying it is, and I'm a little offended, sir.
But do you agree with that sentiment, or do you think that's part of do you think that's more of like an LA Chicano like kind of thing, or
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that's more of a. Well, I don't know. I can't speak for a whole country. I can say what I feel, which is the opposite of that. So I do not agree with that personally.
okay?
Because I feel like um any connection to like Latin America and anything like that is beautiful. It's nothing to like want to avoid or anything like that, or belittle. So it might be that that's more of a viewpoint with like northern Chicanos, because I do feel like a lot of them just like they take pride in their culture, but then also feel far away from it, like a little too maybe there's like a discrepancy there. Um And then let's not even get into the whole like racist Mexican people who really don't want to have a you know. So there's that whole subset of people, but for myself I don't agree with that. I quite like being Latina, Latinx, Hispanic, any title that I'm a part of that I fit in the bubble, then I'm gonna take it for
Mhm.
sure.
No, yeah, I think that, yeah, I think that's kind of like, it's the thing within the Latin Mexican sort of culture. It's like we're so similar,
Hmm.
even down to the cuisine. It's just, some people use red beans, some people use brown beans, some people use
Hmm.
black beans, some people have white rice, some people have brown rice, some people have yellow. We eat pretty much the same things prepared in different ways. And there's so much mixing of the cultures, and there's so much appreciation of the cultures that you would think we would be better served to just continue to be more and more together. But there is still this, there's still this pride element to try to keep some things. You want to keep that. Like, I was having a conversation with Ana Lidia Monaco. She's a producer. She's Chicana. She does identifies both Latina and Chicana, but she makes it a point to point out that Mexican Americans are the largest minority demographic in the United States. Out of the, you're taking them away from the Latinos, they are in of themselves one of the largest populations. So she strives for unity, equality, but she also wants to continue to push for, Chicano, involvement and stuff like that. And I understood it. And my conversation with her was, um, I am Colombian, Uruguayan. As you can see, I have the flags in the back, and you've known this. And but I'm surrounded by, if yeah, if I'm also surrounded by Mexicans because I live in San Diego and Chula Vista. I named myself Big Chief Burrito
You're an
after.
honorary, let's be honest.
Right. So, but then I told her and I said, I had this sort of epiphany of why people can sort of make the cultural appropriation, which is, I was updating, like, I think my Twitter bio, and I put the Colombian flag, and then I put the Uruguayan flag, and I was like, should I have the American and the Mexican flag? Because I'm like so interconnected with Mexican culture here in San Diego, and so into it that I was like, I can see how somebody could get to that point in their mind if they're so ingrained and so surrounded by that culture that they start to feel it.
Mhm.
But then I told her, listen, my friends, like I said, you might say I'm honorary. I might as well. I used to call myself, when I came out here, might as well be Mexican, because people looked at me and they didn't think I would. They just thought I was Mexican.
Mm.
Um, so I can see how people that are in that, but then I stopped myself, because I said, this is where people sort of make the mistake, because even though you guys accept me, and I'm a part of the culture, and I'm a part of everything that's going on around here, I'm still Colombian.
Mhm.
There's still like that. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it totally does.
It does.
It does, yeah, but, like, do you feel that you are, sort of, like, within the culture, or you don't feel the need to claim that, right? That's sort of what you're
No,
saying
no.
along the lines?
I guess, yeah. Like, I was just updating my Twitter bio, and I was just putting up the Colombian and Uruguayan flag, and I saw the Mexican flag there, and I was like, well, like, if I'm, like, if I marry a Mexican girl and I live in San Diego and Chula Vista, and my name is Big Chief Burrito, and I've been living here for 20 years, what would be the big deal if I tried to identify as that as part of something that I identify with? But for some reason I couldn't take that step. Like, I wasn't considering it. I just sort of used it as like a thought experiment as
Mm,
to what are the reasons that I would or would not add that to my bio? And would I be being disingenuous? Would I be culturally appropriating? Would
mhm,
you and my other friends be like, what the hell are you doing? Like, I just sort of went through the steps into my head as to what would happen if I sort of decided that I wanted to represent myself like that.
mhm,
And what I ultimately decided is that, even though I have so much appreciation, and that when I'm around Mexican people, I start to talk more like Mexican people. And they're like, yeah, it'll just
mm,
slip out just naturally, just from being around you all the time.
mhm.
But I still think that there's that stopping point where it's like, okay, let me stop myself there just for my own benefit,
Yeah.
so I feel comfortable with it. But then you look at that, Mrs. What's this? What was Alec Baldwin's wife, and
Oh my, don't get me started on her.
she
What
went
the what
she went
did
to
she
Spain for one summer, and she came back.
it's like soy de España, joder.
España, and all her kids' names are all like super,
It's like,
super,
dude,
super
please.
Spaniard
She
names,
changed
and
her name. Her name was Hillary. It was Ilaria. Come
Hilaria.
on, bruh. Give me a
She went
fucking
from she
break.
went she went from
She went
Hillary
from
from
Hillary to
Massachusetts.
Ilaria.
She was Hillary
Yeah.
from Massachusetts, Hillary from Boston,
Boston.
and then she turned into Hilaria from
Mhm.
Spain. Um, so yeah, so
For one
I guess
summer.
for one say, and then
Same.
she forgot how to say a word. She didn't know how
I
to do that.
know. I watched the whole ass video. But back to what you were saying though.
No, yeah, that was just my point though.
Well, I actually was gonna go based off of what you said and compare it to the Chicano experience. Do you think that like what you felt when you were deciding whether you fit in within the Mexican flag or not, did Chicanos go through? And I'm speaking sort of not me way, even though I do fit into the box of Chicana, because I do feel like having spent my a lot of my formative years in Mexico, I have met, and then having gone to college in Fullerton, which is a little more north than here, I've met a lot of Chicanos that are very quote unquote whitewashed a little bit,
Mhm.
don't speak Spanish or very broken Spanish, don't are afraid of like crossing the border and stuff like that. Um, and so I feel like I thought I fit in with Chicanos, but then you meet more northern Chicanos that are like so far away from the Mexican culture and have never set foot in Mexico or have 0 5. And so I wonder if that's sort of a similar thought process that they have, what you were describing with the flag, or the Mexican flag.
Well, I think that that this goes back to what like Latinos as a voting bloc, or Latinos as a, there's so many sub groups inside of
Mhm.
them. There's Latinos that were, first generation, their parents, came across somehow and they were born here. There's Latinos that are second and third generation that are born here and they're much more Americanized. There was a lot of that in the East Coast growing up, where there was a lot of Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, even Colombians, kids that were born to immigrants that didn't speak English, and
Mhm.
they were looked down upon by other people that were more connected to the family. So the US is a melting pot, right? You're supposed to come here and assimilate,
Mhm.
and a lot of them have. So I think it's that, and then Mexicans that are from this part, Colombians that are from this part of Colombia, from that part of Colombia, like there's so many subgroups and things, and then Cubans, and a lot of the way they feel about their culture sometimes is dictated by the relationship that their government has with the US government, right? So we talked about
That's
that. I
true.
think the Cubans, why they skew more towards Republicans because of the history they've had. And if you're a Colombian and you're well to do in Miami, you might vote differently than a Colombian from New York. Mexicans, Southern California, that are more connected to the border versus Mexicans that have already moved into Chicago and other places
Mhm.
where they might assimilate, or kind of have a subculture. So I think it's like a super individual thing, how what you consider yourself. And that's why some when people are like, how dare you say Latinx? That's not a word. I refuse to use it. I refuse. I said, that's fine. I would never call myself Latinx. Like for a while,
Really?
I was like, do I have to call myself Latinx? And
Mhm.
I was like, I don't mind people using it. I don't mind people identifying it. I don't mind taking the time to use it to make people feel that they're part of conversation. But I do not. But then I thought, if I do this, is it me just virtue signaling?
Mhm.
Is it like
Yeah.
a and anytime I feel like it's something like that, I'm like, I don't want to do that. You know.
Yeah. You're like, is that truly coming from something that I agree with, or am I just be sort of PC and not offend people?
Yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely. It feels kind of weird to me to say, like, for a while I was like even trying. I was like, hey, I'm a Latinx filmmaker and this and that, and it just
Mhm.
felt off. It felt more me to say it to say, hey, I'm talking about Latino, Hispanic, Latinx filmmakers, and just take the time to add it to a
Include.
list of things to be inclusive rather than identify with. Because I said, what am I? I said I'm a Latino. I'm just what I and Spanish is a language created with feminine and
And
masculine
masculine.
words.
Yeah, yeah,
You
so it's
know,
really hard to, like, change a whole language and make
not
fetch happen.
yeah,
It's
and not and it's like and in some cases words are both. You know, because you
Mhm.
could say like, "Hey, el bus, big bus, la puerta." So doors are feminine. What like what about a door is feminine other than the fact that
Exactly.
when they were breaking it down, they said la puerta instead of el puerta,
Mhm.
right? Or el camión, right? But then the Mexicans could say la troca.
That's
so,
true.
so it's like there's so many that are you know, we had written this bit where Laura was crossing the street and there was a bus coming and I didn't know what to call the bus, like la bus or el bus, and then I kept trying to figure out what the correct word bus X was to say it.
Who's
and
X? What the fuck?
and then she got run over by the bus and it was but in my mind it was just thinking like sometimes it can get a little ridiculous, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, I was having this conversation, and it actually reminds me a lot about, the term bisexuality and pansexuality, and how the real difference is only that pansexual is more inclusive.
Mm.
And so I just have a hard time transitioning or changing because I'm like bisexual still fits. It still feels right. It's what I came out as, and I feel like it has a lot to do with the whole Latinx and Latino Latina. Like I'm a she her. I'm a woman. I identify as that. So me using Latina feels right. That's what I've been using my whole life. I don't know if it's just me holding on to tradition versus wanting to be more progressive, but I do think that it's important to be inclusive of those who are maybe transitioning intersex or just like don't identify with any gender or just want to be more gender inclusive. I agree with that, and I will totally include Latinx, and I don't look down upon it. Do I personally use it? Sometimes. I mean, I don't know, not really, but I'll use it to include others. It's more so about, you know, being inclusive towards others, not so much to me. To me, I feel comfortable with Latina. I know you feel comfortable with Latino, so if that works for us,
If you could
that
only
works.
use one, would you use Latina or Chicana?
Latina for sure. Cause I it's weird, and it's weird because like in
Why is it weird, Sophia? Because you froze. Sophia. Sophia might be having technical differences here. She just froze on my screen, so let's wait for her to come back. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure that you guys are following us across all platforms so you can get notified when we go live. Facebook.com/2am burrito. Let's remove her for a second. Twitch.tv/2am burrito. YouTube.com/2am burrito. And I want to take a moment to shout out the organizations that I work with that are vetted and that I believe can help people in times of need. If you guys want to help out homeless people, people that are without residence at the moment, please contact communitythroughhope.org, the organization here in San Diego and Chula Vista that help people that need food that might be not necessarily all the way homeless but also in need. They have food, um, clothes, a lot of other things that they do. I had them on the pod a while back. They're good people, so check them out. If you want to donate your time or in money to anybody else, artsbt.org, artsforbettertomorrow.org. Jose Yenke is an actor here in San Diego, Chula Vista, Tijuana, and LA, and he works with at-risk youth in those three cities, helping them deal with trauma through the arts. Arts for a Better Tomorrow, artsbt.org. I do a lot of work for them. Really great organization. Check them out. As long as we're talking about Hispanic and Latino heritage, both of these organizations are run by Community Through Hope, Mexican Americans, artsbt.org, Jose Yankee, who is Peruvian American. And if, obviously, you guys can see, well, my dogs were in the background, they're gone now. Bringing you on right now, Sofia. We save the puppy.org, another local charity here in San Diego that works to help find homes for TJ street dogs and other dogs that are abandoned on the streets in San Diego and Tijuana. We save the puppy.org. You can donate to them or help them out. If you are gonna get a dog for yourself, I know a while back we found out that a lot of people that had gotten dogs during the pandemic were giving them back because they were going back to the office, and that's fucking horrible. Don't do that. Don't be a piece of shit. Get a rescue dog. Don't get dogs from breeders. Don't breed your dogs. We have too many dogs as it is. Go to wesavethepuppy.org for that. And sdlatinofilm.com. Big news on that myself. I've been working with the festival in an unofficial capacity over the last several years, helping them out when I don't have movies. And even when I do have films in the festival, I've been helping them out. One of the longest running Latino film festivals in the country. 29 years, I think they're coming up on. And this year, I will be part of the official selection committee for the festival. And I will be curating, hopefully, a couple of the events and possibly a comedy lineup. So if you have a Latinx, Hispanic, Latino, Latine themed film, short film, documentary that is by, for, or about Latinos or features Latinos in prominent positions, hopefully we'll have links for you guys so you can submit them so that you can be considered for that. Obviously, you can go on to imburrito.com to get all our information. You can follow me, Big Chief Burrito, across all platforms. And it looks like we got Sofia back, so let's bring her back on. Hello.
Hello. Sorry, I'm a broke bitch. My Wi-Fi sucks. So that
You,
might happen again, people. I'm
you,
sorry.
it's all right. I can improv. Don't worry about it.
Thank you.
You were getting caught
What
up.
was
You got caught up. Okay, when I asked you if you had to go by Chicana or Latina, you said Latina, right?
Right.
I,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I used to, I mean, I went through a phase in early college where I got super into the title Chicana because I was like, oh, no soy de aquí ni de allá. Like, oh my gosh, like I don't fit in with Mexicans. They see me as too American, and Americans see me as too Mexican. I still very much feel that way, but I
okay.
think that I've met more Chicanos and I've realized that like we're very different. And so I've met a lot of Latinos and I feel like it just the bond is there, you know? So I don't know if it's the fact that like I am I speak pretty comfortably. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's the fact that like I've lived in Mexico, but I feel like I just vibe with Latinos more
Mhm.
than with a lot of very Americanized Chicanos. I do like Chicana and I go by it for sure, and I go by Latina as well. But if I had to choose one, I would probably stick to Latina. Yeah.
You,
What about you? I mean,
like I
you don't
said,
know as Chicano, but like,
no.
what's your?
I don't like Latinx. I like Latino. I don't
Mhm,
necessarily like Hispanic because I think that's obviously where Spic came from.
mhm.
So which was just like slang or derogatory sort of shortening of Hispanic. I guess the technical thing is if you had any influence in your country from Hispaniola, right? Is that where Hispanic comes from?
It is, yeah. If you speak Spanish or Hispanic or yeah, any Hispaniola, which is Spain,
Right.
pretty
If you're
much.
from there, then you can be considered Hispanic. So I never had a problem with it growing
Mhm,
up. Then I think later on Latino felt like more of a fit for me.
mhm.
And then just because of that, I didn't necessarily like Hispanic at that point. But it's not like, just don't call me a spick, don't call me a beaner. And even a beaner is
Mhm.
necessarily is hey, that's more of like, yeah, fuck yeah, of course.
I
I love
love
beans.
beans. Who doesn't fucking love
Who
beans,
doesn't
dude?
love what kind of fucking person doesn't love
What
beans?
kind of person doesn't like beans?
And you also
Anyway,
mentioned that you're even from another subset of the Chicano culture, which is the border Hispanic culture, because you're here and there, back and
yeah.
forth. So San Diego has a
Mhm.
very unique. border population that is,
Mhm.
that also might have a different, mentality about a lot of different things, as it
Yeah.
pertains to the area. So it's just about the culture, what's happening politically in your area, what's happening in your, so people should be allowed to identify as they want. It's just not that big of a deal to add them to the conversation.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's not that big of a deal, and some people can be really nitpicky and judgy, and it's like, hey, end
Yeah,
of the day, yeah,
get over it.
this month is about celebrating everyone, y'all. Come on.
Absolutely, absolutely. Did you find in your classes that teachers or something go out of the way to be inclusive? Do they default to like Latinx and stuff like that when they talk to students? Or
Well, interestingly enough, I took a lot of Chicano studies classes in when I because I started in community college and then I transferred to university. And I don't remember Latinx being a thing back then because I feel like that has to do more with just like being more inclusive of like gender neutral pronouns, right? Or like, yes. Non-binary. There you go.
non-binary people?
Yeah, no, and I think that that didn't become a thing until probably the latter part of my university career, and that at that point I didn't take any Chicano studies classes. I took a lot of psychology courses, so it wasn't super. It was shut up. Cállese. Pero it was yeah, no, it wasn't super yeah, it wasn't super used, but I am part of a Latina sorority, academic sorority. And it is very widely used there. We are very inclusive. Oh, I'm actually wearing a shirt right now. Look,
Look
it's
at you.
Lambda Theta Alpha, y'all.
Shout out.
The first, the only Latina sorority in the nation.
The first.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, we were the first. We paved the way. We have a whole thing. Anyway, whatever. Join it, love it. But yeah, they use it a lot for sure. They are very strict on using Latinx.
So they
Inclusivity,
they
you know?
definitely are like, do they uh-oh.
Oh no,
I
your
thought you
face.
froze it. I thought you froze again, and you had like this weird thing on your face. It was hilarious for a second. That's why I was like, oh my god, please freeze
It's
like
gonna
that.
keep happening, bro. I don't know why. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. All right. It's all right. All right. It's all right. When one of the things I did want to do is I have a couple of links here of different people that are promoting Latinx, sort of, in Hispanic Heritage Month.
Hmm.
I'm gonna pull those up in a second, but I did want to talk a little bit about the IATSC strike. Um,
Ayatsi. That's what
IATSE.
Ayatsi. That's what I call them. Yes.
Is that what you call them?
Yep. As of as of this news, it's exactly what I call them
And
back in
I
the
guess
day.
the main thing with that people should know about that is that, um, it's basically this is something that we've taken advantage of in the past. Independent. This is something that independent filmmakers have taken advantage of in the past, and that is new media, SAG, and new media film contracts. Because
Hmm.
obviously, your Netflix, your streaming services, these are things that became popular over the last 10 years, or 15 years, that they started and became popular over the last 5 years even.
Hmm.
So new media was always, over the last 10, 15 years, was always seen as lower revenue, and you shouldn't get paid as much to work on an indie film that's or a web series than you
Hmm.
should for working on a TV show for ABC or NBC, right? That
Right.
was the plan. And the during the writer's strike, excuse me, one of the key issues that was brought up is the writers wanting more residuals and more money for when they were writing for web-based series.
That was in
Hey,
2007, right?
hey, Dizzy Miss Lizzie, thank you for stopping
Dizzy
by.
Miss Lizzie, what's up?
Dizzy Miss Lizzie will soon be podcasting about. Well, I said they should call their podcast "Pop Rocks" because it's about pop culture and astrology.
Oh
Ooh,
yes,
all right,
yes,
right.
that is
Hey,
perfect. Please,
yeah,
Pop Rocks.
there you
I
go.
love it.
But they think they had another name. Thanks for stopping by.
Aw, Dizzy Miss Lizzie, come on, do
That's
Pop
it.
Rocks,
Pop
come
Rocks.
on.
That's a good name
It's
for.
genius.
Um, but yeah, so what I was saying is this
Right.
came about during the writer's strike.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh
basically,
seven.
yeah, the writer strike where people they wanted to get more residuals for web shows, things like that. What happened to new media is that it's just become media.
Mhm.
There's no, you can't, whether you're working on a show that's going to come on at 8 o'clock on ABC, or whether you're going to show the show on the Peacock number, or Netflix or Hulu.
Mhm.
It's just media. And I think that some of the contracts that these unions are under still sort of differentiate what's new media, and trying to get them to work for less hours, get less residual, get less breaks,
Mhm.
um, to have less time to rest over the weekend, have to work overtime on a Friday into Saturday morning, and then only have Sunday to themselves, and then have to be back on set at 4 in the morning on a Monday.
Mhm.
And also being forced to work 10 to 14-hour days, being forced to have grace periods where they keep working because they have the love of, and it's just, it's a way for studios, even though they might have had the hey, we don't know where this Netflix thing is going when they re-signed the contract. It's very clear to everybody that Netflix is a thing, and Hulu
Mhm.
and Disney and Apple. And Apple wanted to pay people less because they're like, well, we don't have as many subscribers as Netflix.
Oh my god.
And Apple TV just won Emmys for Ted Lasso. And
That's
Apple's got
crazy.
all the fucking money in the world. They have like billions of dollars squirreled away. Apple's got more cash than the Pope, I think. So
Facts.
for these companies, for these huge ass companies to all of a sudden, keep sort of trying. I think this was something that was inevitable, and I think they've been negotiating, but I think they've taken they're about to take the vote, and almost unanimously, filmmakers, people that are in the industry, like, this is not just gonna. This is IATSE is not just. It is the movie industry. Without
Mhm.
them, there is no film. Without the guy setting up lights, camera, and then there's sister brotherhoods, unions, editors, other guilds that are going to completely support it, right? I'm assuming the writers guild is going to support. So this could put a pot, like the writer strike made, it affected Breaking Bad because they only had a
Yeah.
shortened first season.
Grey's Anatomy too, I think.
There's a bunch of shows that had to
Yeah.
adjust or stuff like that. Talk shows had to decide whether or not they were going to come on because, technically
Well,
they're writer.
the strike lasted 4 months, right?
Yeah, the strike lasted for a while.
That
Yeah,
that's
and it
insane.
affected a lot of stuff. And this
Mhm.
is not just affecting, and that affected stuff that was being written, or people written episodically and stuff like that. But there was still stuff that was written that could get produced.
Mhm.
Nothing will be produced during this strike. I mean, from an indie level,
Yeah.
my question is, one of the questions that I have is should independent filmmakers that aren't working with union crews keep working during the strike? I think most of them will,
Yeah. It's hard
but
not to, but I feel like the more people stand in solidarity, la la la, the better. I do feel like filmmaking as a whole, and like show making and like new media versus old media and all of that is kind of like hitting a breaking point in the transitional period, especially like when you think about fuck, what was that actress that sued, Scarlett Johansson,
Mhm.
which like at first I thought it was like, oh, a rich person being petty and like suing Marvel for whatever it was, and it had to do with the premiere. But then the more you looked at it, the more, wait, that's true, like they did have Disney Plus did kind of mess up the whole premiere and take a good chunk of change out of it. And anyway, in comparison, this is kind of what's happening with the whole new media process. And I wonder, I don't know if I have an answer. I more so have just like a bunch of questions. I wonder how long this strike is going to take. I wonder what it's, I wonder if we'll ever get to the end of this transitional period when it comes to new media, where it's just, regularized and just, I don't know. I don't know. Just want I want filmmakers in every level and every position to get a fair wage and vacation time and everything. So I hope it works. I don't know if there's any dates for it. Like, have you heard anything regarding that?
No, no. All I've said is that they've asked for a strike vote. So they've asked their
Mhm.
membership to strike vote, and that's not even if they get like basically what they want is a lot of their members to vote. Yes, we vote to strike because then they can take that back to the producers, the rich
Right.
money grubbing studios, and say, hey, look, 80% of our membership is voted yes on a strike.
And it's like
So
80%, like, they can't make shit without 80% of their members,
right.
so
And I think even the other 20% would not go into work. I believe that if there is a strike
mhm.
and you are a SAG actor and you are working on a show for Netflix and they say come into work Monday, we have some replacement workers. Some scags, what do they call those?
Uh,
Scabs, right?
Scabs?
Yeah, well, people that replace, scab workers, people that like,
Mhm.
hey, I'm not union, I'll come work for you.
Yeah.
Um, I believe that if I don't think that any well-known actor is gonna be like, yeah, okay, I'll come into work
Yeah.
because they're gonna
That's
get
true.
trash talked a lot if they work on a movie set or a show set that's not with union IATSE members, right? I don't think,
Yeah.
I think everybody that's in a union is gonna support
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, and
um,
then also it's gonna be a PR nightmare if you're, like you said, the actor that goes, "Oh, there's a fucking strike going on." So
Yeah, there's a strike and you get a bunch of, people that are not part of the union, day
mm,
workers or stuff like that, people that are going to come in because at that point then the studios have the right to lock the employees out and technically they can replace them or get replacement workers. But I think it's going to be a bad look. And what you were talking about the Scarlett Johansson thing, yeah, cuz basically what did they do? They had a contract where she's going to get a percentage of the revenue
the revenue from the premiere and the
revenue
box
from the
office mainly.
box office premiere, and Disney decides, hey, we can release it in theaters, see how it does, but we can release it at the same time, grow
And
our
Disney Plus.
membership on Disney Plus,
Mhm. I was like, "Shady."
and we'll end up having to pay her less,
Uh-uh.
right?
Why do you wait
Uh,
until there's one Marvel movie with female lead? I'm just saying, okay? A little sexist here. Whatever.
whatever it
But her.
was, and she's like, okay, they killed me off in the Avengers.
Mhm.
I didn't get my money on this one. She
It's fucking stink.
basically canceled herself out of any possible, because Black Widow, it was received pretty well, enough that you could see them doing a sequel to it,
Mhm.
but that would also have to take place pre the Marvel stuff, which whatever, or they could have done a TV show or something like that. But
Right.
um, she basically was like, "You guys fucked me." And I think there was other actors as well that Denzel and another couple of actors had talked about some of the movies HBO put out where they decided to put them out. HBO too. Maybe HBO basically at some point said every movie that we got coming out this week coming out this year is going to come out on HBO as well as theaters. So Space Jam, what was the other one? Cry Macho, the
Right.
Sopranos movies, Dune.
So did like
Uh,
everyone sue or did they just like renegotiate their contracts?
See,
I
I
didn't hear
think the
much.
studios are just like, fuck your contracts, right? Isn't that what they're doing?
Shit. Probably. I would
Fuck yo couch
well,
actors.
fuck yo. Duh.
I don't know. I think that any actor that
Savage
had
right
a
now.
clause that was related to box office probably has the right to some sort of litigation, right?
Yeah, I feel like. I don't know. It just feels like it's all in the transitional period, and I just wonder where the fuck we're gonna end up. Where's Hollywood going, y'all? We don't know.
I mean, I think that what'll happen is there's enough stuff that's already out, and there's enough
Mhm.
stuff that probably Netflix, Hulu, and stuff is sitting on, like
Right.
even stuff that they passed on, but they still have the rights to. That I think that if it comes down to a prolonged strike, you're gonna see some of these shows that are just in the can but never saw the light of day, all of a
Mhm.
sudden get released if they feel that people have already they've already watched The Office for a sixth time, or you know what I
Right.
mean, or Seinfeld's going to Netflix,
Mhm.
something like that. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know. I don't have many thoughts regarding this because I more so am just like here sitting with my popcorn, just waiting to see what the fuck happens. I feel like I'm a bystander, and I want to know how long, if it happens, I think it will. How this strike is last because I was very surprised to hear that the writer strike took 4 months. That's when I was like, whoa! I didn't even know strikes could last that long. So that's crazy. I'm excited for
Hey
Holiday
man,
Day. I don't know.
strikes and collective bargaining and workers unions are the
Hmm.
reason that 8-year-olds can't work in mines anymore and work in
That's true.
factories. It's the reason that we have weekends off because
Hmm.
it's the reason that there's an 8-hour shift, and after 8 hours you get overtime. It's collective bargaining and things that unions fought for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago that then
Mhm.
got put into laws. So, that's why Labor Day, that's why even though I don't ever work on Labor Day, because I want to respect what these people that came before us really fought for, which was
Mhm.
rights, because capitalism is is
A
is
bitch.
is a bitch, and it's based, and if bosses will get away with as much as they possibly can.
Mhm.
When I used to run when you're in a management position, you're very keenly aware of what the employment rules are. If we called people into work and there was a problem, the computers were down, right away it was like, well, you can keep them for if you keep them for more than 2 hours, you got to pay them for X amount. So it's like, okay, we got to figure this out within the next 2 hours, or we got to send them all home because we don't want to
Mhm.
pay them a penny more than we have to. Right? They
Mhm.
showed up to work, they get 2 hours. Right? You got to get somebody. So I've always been keenly aware of those sort of rules and how they're made to benefit
The company.
the company for the most part.
Mhm.
And anything
Yeah.
that you get to throw in your boss's face, I don't work on Labor Day. This is a federal holiday. That is something that at some point got collectively bargained and fought for by people that had to strike, that had to riot, that had to fight
Mhm.
and stuff like that. So it's just, I think, hopefully it's something where if there's an overwhelming vote to approve a strike, they can then take that back to the studios, and that will show them that they need to negotiate. Hey, and this goes all the way down to, I follow a lot of writers and creatives on Twitter and stuff like that, and this comes down a lot to, like, writing assistants in writers' rooms aren't even getting $15 an hour.
Really?
So you could work for, I mean, some rooms. So you could be working on a TV show for Netflix, Hulu, ABC, and you are the person that's there taking notes. You compile all the notes. You go back and you put them together. You bring everybody coffee. You're doing all this shit. You're in the writers'
Mhm.
room. This is a dream, and you're making less than $15 an hour. You're making 12.50 an hour, living in LA, and
Fuck.
and
Can't
and
even
and
at
and
that
being
point.
an assistant in a writing room.
Mm-mm.
And these people have been told for years and years and years that they can't get raises because the studios can't afford them. When it's
And it's
probably an
like the
extra.
studios have like billions and billions of dollars, so there's absolutely no logic in that.
I think what this shows is that maybe they didn't have a lot of, maybe, obviously the pandemic hit everybody hard, all industries, shipping.
True. Do you think that they're gonna play kind of like the guilt card of like, oh, we're just doing so bad because of the pandemic? Media was hit hard and we can't afford to blah blah blah.
It's bullshit. Media went up during the pandemic, I feel, because everybody was stuck at home.
Yeah, exactly. Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus. Come on. Come on. I got all
Everybody,
of them now.
I absolutely guarantee you that membership has gone up across all platforms, because
Oh, 100%.
it
All you
has
have to
to.
do is go on the stock market and see how their stocks went up. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so I think that's a bunch of bullshit in terms of, because, and we all needed entertainment over the last 2 years to get through this shit, because you were
Hmm.
stuck at home and you had to, like, stream something or watch something. Somebody wrote it, somebody directed it, somebody acted in it, somebody had to set up the lights, somebody had to edit it. It's like filmmaking is a collaborative art.
Hmm.
And I just, I think I want I stand with our brothers and sisters of IATSC.
I also stand with
Um,
Iatsc.
uh, and I believe that they have the right to, sit down and eat lunch. They have the right to not have to work the full weekend. They have the right not to
Mhm.
work 10 to 14-hour days. They should have the right to not fall asleep while they're driving home.
Yeah.
Things like that. There's a bunch of things that second here. One of the
Are you looking for like pictures of production workers on like sleeping on set and under tables and stuff? Cause
no, I'm
that was sad
looking.
to watch.
Yeah, and we haven't had the ability to work on a lot of SAG sets and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But but like I said, this is something that's gonna affect our industry moving forward for a long time. An industry that I want to be a part of, that I want to produce, that I want to, and at our level, like I made a decision a couple of years ago that I wasn't going to, unless it's a personal project and I'm working on it with friends and um they're all like gonna be sharing in the wealth if I create something. I didn't want to shoot or produce something unless I was able to pay people,
Mhm.
or at least if as people have asked me to produce stuff for them, and I say, okay, I will produce this for you, but I'm not going to ask people to work for free for somebody else's project, number one. And I don't feel, and so I think that, in trying, if I want the industry that I love and that I'm going to be working to be good to its workers,
Yeah.
and make it so that people um can have, because people start working in the industry at that level because it's a good union, because it's easy to find union work because you're going to get paid for your time and a decent wage. But if it all goes to shit and people feel like they're being abused,
Mhm.
then there's no.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I think I that's a mentality that fortunately has become, at least in our level, in our circle of people, more and more widespread. But it's so crazy to think that that's how we think, and yet we're not a billion-dollar company who is finding ways to just like not pay their workers and their production team and everyone. It's like that's intense. I feel like with us, it's like every cent matters, and we try to do our best to have everyone, satisfied and happy and all of that. And then it's just kind of sad the fact that whole ass companies can't even pay their workers. The hell, I'm mad
Yeah.
now. Pissed.
and and one of the things that is that, okay, if you are a grip on a production team, and you are somebody that's basically,
Hmm.
you can make a good wage. You can make two,
Hmm.
three, four, $500 a day if you're a experienced production on a set. But
You're
you
gonna be
n-
working like 20 hours, like
you're going to be working 10, 14 hours. You're going to
yeah.
be, right. You have to be an electrician. You have to be this. You have to do that. You have to do a lot of stuff. Um, and you have to be, and you have to be, sorry about that. And you have
No.
to be able to do a lot of different things. You got to know what kind of C stands to use, how to set them up. There's a lot of
Mhm.
knowledge and there's a lot of stuff. Like if you're an inexperienced filmmaker, you depend on your crew.
Mhm.
There's always the grip or the production assistant that there's been a lot of films that have been saved because there's production assistants, grips, people there that
Who know their
know.
shit.
Yeah, oh, you want to get that shot, well, you need to do this and this and this. You want to get that shot, you better do this and this and this. Like, and I've learned from people that have been on previous sets. So I think that that's important for us to support it. And when the time comes, and if other people are saying, well, let's not produce stuff in solidarity with our thing, it's going to be a tough decision for indie filmmakers to do,
Yeah.
especially if they're doing any SAG projects or stuff like that, because you don't want to be a scab. You don't want to be,
Yeah.
especially if it's the industry, like, right.
Right, right, right. But then
All
there's
right.
also those are opportunistic people who could probably, use this as
Hey,
an opportunity.
when the NFL had a strike in the '80s, they got replacement players. They're like they're
Did they?
superstar. Yeah, and they kept playing the season. They were just these dudes that were like old college players.
Like, this is my chance.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. We need to turn down the sexiness. Cyro said we're
Damn. Thanks, boo. Love
we
you,
need a we,
Cloud.
who said she was talking about you? Let me
She
see.
was. Let's be honest. Come on. It's that
let's
slick back hair.
let's be honest. Is that what I'm saying?
Let's be honest.
Let's be honest. Thank you for stopping by, Cyro.
Thanks, Hyro.
But I'm curious to say, if you are watching Cyro, Dizzy, I mean, what do you guys feel as well? Anybody else? Let us know what you think. I do want to
Hmm.
play this video. Amy LaJoy, she is an actress here from San Diego.
She's
She,
from here.
yeah, she went viral.
Yeah.
She went viral this over the last year. She started a line of things called shit, grip say, shit, MUA, basically just stuff that people say in the industry. She did a video in support of Iatsc called "Shit Iatsc Wants."
Oh.
So give me a second here. I'm going to share my screen. Hi,
Watch it.
Lizzie's still here.
Yeah.
So
I'm
Lizzie and
still here. Hi,
Cyro,
Lizzie.
I have named your. I said my suggestion is that you name your podcast about pop rocks, pop culture, and astrology. Pop
And now
rocks.
you
There you go.
have to do it.
And now you must do it. All right, I'm going to share this video here. Let me see if you can hear that. Can you hear this?
Fucking love her. Oh my God.
Whoa, what's going on here? Stop sending me
Oh,
messages. Richard.
DMs.
I don't know. That was
I saw it. You nasty.
somebody sent inappropriate messages. All
Oh
right,
my
here.
goodness.
All right. Can you hear this? Here you go.
Yes.
Wait, can you?
Now I can.
Yeah. You can?
Yeah. Oh, no, I can't. Hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So definitely go check Amy
Yes.
out. She's got a great set of videos. She's got videos with like 200,000 views from her
Yes, Amy.
shit grip say.
Oh, I love her. God.
So good job on that. Nick Richard, why are you sending me
She
inappropriate
makes my
messages?
day consistently. So,
Oh, you've seen her. You've
yeah.
seen her stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Hell
Uh,
yeah.
Amy, yeah, Amy
When I
is
was
a go.
18, that was like, it was hilarious.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Her
Amy is
videos are fun.
go.
Her
Yes.
videos are fucking awesome.
Hmm.
So that's the Iatsc Strike. I also wanted to share a couple of things going on that I saw. All right, I want to let you guys know that I'm going to be speaking to on an upcoming podcast next week. I'm going to be talking to the author of El Alto, Francis Mateo.
Ooh.
He is a author. He lives in the. Why is my shopping list popping up?
I'm learning so much about you. Keep sharing your screen, please.
El Alto is a book about the heights, about the upper Manhattan, the Bronx, that area. And it's una lectura incisiva sobre la cotidianidad, los sueños y despertares del universo Dominican York, en uno de sus autores más refinados, Francis Mateo. He's an actor, he's a poet, he's done Shakespeare. We're going to talk about all of those things next Tuesday, so tune in. We are live with Sofia Carrillo. We're recording the
That's
2
it.
a.m. Burrito podcast live tonight. 2 a.m. Burrito everywhere. Thanks for joining. Yeah, Big Chief is exposing themselves. Like, hey, why am I showing you
Yeah,
my Amazon
right,
list? Like,
right.
that makes no sense.
What you
I
gonna
gotta,
buy us,
I gotta.
Big
What are you
Chief?
buying? All I'm looking at
What you
is some.
want?
I'm just looking at some wallets. Nothing wrong with that. Um,
Question: Are you gonna ask the author of El Alto about In the Heights and his perspective on the representation? Um,
I think so. Absolutely. One of the things
yeah,
one of the things that
I'm excited to watch.
one of the things that I myself want to work on is being a because I feel like we talked earlier about the struggles within the Latino, Hispanic, Latinx community to sort of want to come together, but also be spread apart because all these issues happen. One of the things that I saw a couple of weeks ago, a while ago, was, and then the infighting between the different parts, whether it's the white passing
Hmm.
Latinos versus the more middle of the road like us, where we could kind of go either way, and then there's the Afro Latino part. So
That's
when
true.
when I was in New York, I had a number of Afro Latino friends, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, Colombians, in South America. I know very, Afro Latino Colombians, Afro Latino Uruguayans, even though there's a lot less of them, everything. And I feel that one of the areas that I want to work on for my community is to promote more of those people. But out here in
Yeah,
California, I don't have as many of those people in my life as I used to. So that's why I'm trying to reach out to more of the people that I know from back home and stuff like that to sort of get them in the mix and promote some of that, because it's very easy to stay within your bubble as much as the people that you know. But then we get into these problems where people were promoting in the heights and being so happy about it and being there. But then when the backlash came, they sort of had to adjust their take, you know,
exactly.
because
Yeah,
a lot of people were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this! It's so great, so great, so great, so great! I love it, I love it, I love it!" But then, like, how can you love it? It doesn't show our community as a whole. And they're like, "Ah, damn, I can't be as happy about this as I want it to be." Did you freeze again? Blink if you're not frozen. I think Sophia froze again. So we'll give her a second here to see if she pops back on. But I will be absolutely talking to Francis Mateo next Tuesday. We're going to be talking about In the Heights. We'll talk about a lot of issues facing the Hispanic community in the Bronx, Upper Manhattan area. We'll talk about his book. We're going to talk a lot about Shakespeare, since he's one of the few people that I can talk about Shakespeare with. And we will take it from there. We're going to wait for Sophia to come back and um, get back to it so we can talk a little bit about that. I have a couple of more bits for her, and we will take it from there. She should be getting back in a minute. Just a reminder again, 2amburrito.com for all your 2am burrito needs. You can go to our site. I'm going to try not to make sure I don't share other information with you guys. But you can find our website here. You can see our reel, 2am Puritan reel. You can see, let me see if we can pull up Claudia's scene here. Is she in there? There's Shelly. Austin. Everything's a little slow right now. So we'll give it a break here. So you can watch our reel. You can go see our bios. There's yours truly. You can see our filmography. You can actually see a lot of movies that we have that are not publicly shown. All these movies, some of them are still either in festival runs or we've decided not to make them available publicly. So they're there. You can also find my contact information and my Amazon shopping list. What? No. And you can also see the rest of our podcast. As you can see, this cool looking hipster dude with the beard and whatnot. And you can check out our other audio only versions of the podcast. All right. As always, we're supporting the Iatsc Strike, as I mentioned before. We're waiting for Sofia to come back on. We're talking about Latinx and Hispanic issues. There she is.
hello, I'm back. My name changed.
Is this too? This is too close, right? It's a little too close.
So close. I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
violated.
I s-
It was just getting good. I'm so sorry.
no, I see a lot of pods and a lot of things that like they record like this, and I think the reason that they do that is because so that when people are watching like on their phone or something, it'll be bigger, but it just seems way too close. Like this seems like such a cleaner, much more right?
Yeah. It's more professional. Maybe they don't like their background and they're like, let's zoom in.
All right.
Who knows? Who's to say? Who's to say?
That's right. All right. This time for a subject called Should I Buy This?
Mhm.
Should I buy this shirt?
This is my fucking favorite segment. Okay. Didn't we agree? Didn't we have like a fucking talk the other time about how you don't need anything because
Oh, that's
we're
true.
ruining
That's
the
true.
planet and blah blah blah.
True.
And you're trying to be
True.
more
True.
sustainable and shit.
I
But
have
also, yes, you should get it.
I have in right now I have
Pitbull vendors.
three shirts that are still in plastic that I bought that I haven't worn yet. I have an LRG shirt, I have a Puma
Bro,
shirt,
what are you doing?
and I have a sweater. Actually, here I'm gonna get the sweater. But think,
My dude, you need
what do
to
you
stop.
think about this?
I
Hold on.
love this shit. I think you're the daddy of pit bulls, the stepdaddy of dragons. Oh my goodness! And one of them, you can't even hear me, but I'm gonna keep talking. You know what? But they are like his dogs. I see. One of them looks like Baxter. One of them looks a little bit like no, they're too mean to be Shy Girl. He has a girl dog named Shy Girl, and she'd be very cute, you know. And then I feel like the one in blue looks like Baxter. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think you should definitely get it.
Okay.
Is what well, the same way that I asked you if I should get that dog earlier and you were like, "Yes."
Look,
But you know logic is a no.
I got this
One,
shirt.
we have one.
I have another
We
shirt
have
that I have
two.
two shirts I haven't opened this. And
Shit, man.
this is open, but I haven't worn it yet because I'm waiting for fall.
Uh-huh.
This is a
Three.
That's pretty good.
What? Who needs that many t-shirts?
This is a sweater. This is a sweater though.
That's
So
a sweater. Whatever.
I have a
Oh
hoodie.
my god. See, I wear the same like three outfits, and you're over here just like having a different t-shirt for everything. That's great. It's great. I love it.
Pit Daddy.
It's amazing.
They also have them for different animals, but I was just like
Do they
I
have a
just
chihuahua? Oh my god, do they have a chihuahua one? Oh my god, do they have a chihuahua one? Oh, I'm
I
freaking
don't know,
out.
how do you feel that? Yeah, they do have Chihuahua.
Oh my gosh, show it to me now. Oh my
There it
god.
is.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yo, Cora, you have to see this. Oh my god, Cora. Cora, you have to see this.
This is a new segment called "Should You Buy This Shirt?"
Should I buy this? And the answer is yes. Look, the green one looks exact. Tell me it's not her.
It's
Tell me it's
exactly.
not this bitch. Oh my god. I woke her up for this. I'm so sorry.
This is the
Oh, can we
look.
both get them?
I'm
Sorry.
sure we can both get them. All right. I'm just
Oh my god, I need that in my life.
all right. That has been "Should I Buy This?"
The answer is yes. We're getting
Yeah,
that. We're matching. You're getting a pitbull one. I'm getting a chihuahua one. It's happening. All right.
that makes sense. Cyro apparently Cyro is waiting for the cat venture shirt.
Yeah. Cat venture. Oh.
All right.
Wait, she has kitties?
She loves cats. She's got to
I feel
have
like I
at
should
least
know
a couple,
this. She loves cats.
right?
Yeah.
How
Okay.
many cats
She
do you
don't
have right
have
now,
none,
Claudia?
right?
She
Claudia,
has
you
one
have
that
cats?
she has
Haven't
one that
met them?
visits her. I don't know if she has anybody else.
Like,
Now, one of the
I
other
don't know.
um one of the other kind of
Oh,
and I just wanted to talk on a couple of things that have sort of been common recently.
sure.
The one of the things that's come up for conversation is how prejudice affects searches for white women as opposed to indigenous and women of color. Uh, okay, one
With the PTF.
side note. How do you feel about this one? There was an article about the Emmys, and they said Anna DeJoy winning the Emmy. We called her a vanilla beaner. They said a woman of color won.
Mhm.
Do you consider she's Argentinian? She grew up in England. She's white as
It's
the
a
driven snow.
Queen's Gambit, right?
Queen's Gambit, right?
Yeah.
Anna the Joy, I believe her name is.
No, that's not
Um,
it. It's something
Anna
else.
the something, right?
Something. Something
S-
joy
Yeah, something Anna,
something.
something.
Anyway, something whatever her.
Should
Queen's
she be
Gambit.
should she be considered a woman of color?
Oh man, you're asking me, the lightest of skinned Latinas. It's hard.
Anna
Um,
Taylor Joy. Anna Taylor Joy.
there you go. I was like, okay. Yeah. Oh my God. See, this is one of those positions where am trying to stay away from drama. So I am a light-skinned Latina. I have met darker skinned Latinos who, if you're gonna measure the Latino-ness, yeah, that's her. Let's say, like I said, with the whole Chicano thing, I'm gonna go back to the Chicano Latino situation. I do think that just being a Spanish speaker and actually having grown up in the country of origin versus a Chicano from over here who has never stepped foot in Mexico, I do feel like I can be a little more of a representative for the country of Mexico as opposed to them, right? Like so it's really hard to be put in this position where I can see a very dark skinned Chicano and be in the same room as them and they don't speak a lick of Spanish. And yet for me, I literally was in Rosarito this morning. Like, so the answer for me and my soul is I feel like we need to agree what we consider a person of color, a POC, and if we can somehow separate that, because she's clearly not colored, right? She's
This
as
is
white guts, but she's literally from the country. Like she is also very Latina. So I would say Latina, yes. Would I want to call her a person of color? Part of my PC nature in that I want to respect people is like, dude, she like we don't have color. Come on. Like where's the color? So I don't know if we just all have a fucking meeting and agree that POC and Latina are a different thing. I don't know. Let's all agree. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I'm a light skinned Latina. Help.
this has been a new segment I like to call "Can we get
Free.
Sofia canceled?"
I know. You're literally just on my career before it fucking starts. And you know what?
No,
Fuck you.
well, there's a couple of things. Number one, she's
Hmm.
from Argentina. In Argentina is it might be the particular instance where Argentinians have a saying. I don't know if it's like worldwide, but they have at times said, our heritage is from the boats, not from the jungle. You
Hmm.
know, basically saying that even though Argentinians are Latinos, they came their white race came over on
Oh
boats,
yeah.
so their heritage is from the boats.
And they love to fucking
Right, not from
tell
the
everyone.
jungle, not from the
Yeah.
jungle, meaning we are not the ones that are mixed with the indigenous people. That's not
Mhm.
us. So maybe them as a particular issue and them seeing themselves as and then calling her a person of color, maybe is a weird one.
Yeah, because it's like,
Um,
where's the color? But also the
she's
culture is there. Like she's very Argentinian. I've seen interviews by
yeah,
her.
she's
Spanish is
definitely
beautiful.
Latina. She's definitely Latina. Her
She's a
Spanish is spot
Latina.
on. She's definitely a
Hmm.
Latina, and having lived in Uruguay in the past, la- the Uruguayan women are Latina as hell in terms of like how their style and how they dance and just a bunch of different things. So
Hmm.
I definitely and being half Uruguayan and being half white Latino and half Colombian, which is more indigenous Latino, I'm in that weird position as well, which I'm definitely not white passing. You're definitely not white passing.
No,
Um,
I've been to
sh-
Europe. They looked at me weird. They were like, "Where are those fucking eyebrows from, bitch?"
right, yeah.
I
But
was
when
like,
I would walk around with my father in Colombia, people would come
hmm.
up to him and say, "Hey, Mister," because they would assume he was American. He was like, "Que
Hmm.
Mister ni que cuánto," like talk to me in Spanish, right?
Uh-huh.
So I think it's a weird thing. I think that I think she's a Latina, but I don't think she's a woman or
A,
person of
a
color.
person of color. Yeah, that's what feels irky and weird, Because, like, for example, if you put Eva Longoria, who didn't learn Spanish until she was like probably in her 30s, but she's very, very very much darker skin than what's her name? Anna Taylor Joy, whatever.
And yeah, Taylor Joy, yeah.
Anya Taylor Joy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I would be feel comfortable calling. Oh, what did Claudia say? Skin Latino
Skin
has its own
Latina has its
struggle.
own struggle. Yeah.
Right, girl? I'd be freaking out over here. Anyway. Yeah, no, definitely. It really does. It's a weird place to be. But anyway, I would feel more comfortable calling Eva Longoria a POC, um, and not Anya. But yet I understand that Anya has lived her life in Argentina and like she is a lot more Latina than I would say Eva Longoria, who's a Chicana and literally didn't learn Spanish until her later life. Um, so it's weird. I feel like we should all have a meeting and agree that person of color doesn't necessarily isn't synonymous with just, you know what I mean? Let's all agree.
You want a Latino summit
Yes, can we do that this month, and just all agree so I don't have to have this every single time?
for Hispanic Heritage Month? Yeah,
Yeah.
we need to do that. But yeah, Nate, what I was going to talk about before is one of the other things that's kind of current and topical right now is we had this um sort of huge story that blew up, which was about was this lady's name Gabby Prieto, whatever. She was a
Patino.
Gabby something. She was a YouTuber, blogger,
Mhm.
engaged to some dude. They decided to go live in a van and travel around the country and be lifestyle bloggers.
As white people, it's
And
great.
so, stuff that white people do. And they, you know, uh, she goes missing and the world freaks the fuck out.
Mhm.
I think a lot of this happened while you were away recording your show. The
Mhm.
main So when you came back and you saw what was happening with that, what was your initial reaction to sort of the uproar?
Um, I I don't know. So I saw it as not like I didn't understand what the whole fuss was about. I get it that someone's missing, but it would so I understand where the perspective of like okay, we are up in arms because she is a white lady comes from. Because she's also not a super famous YouTuber, right? It's
No,
like or is it because
she was a pretty
they
white
had
girl.
filmed it's also a very intriguing story, the fact that, they filmed everything, and there's even footage from, like, the police when they pulled them over. Like, it's kind of an intriguing story, so I get it, but I also can understand the other side of, like, okay, why are we putting so much of our
Is this number three, Sophia? Third time's the charm, Sophia. Pay your Wi-Fi bill. She is frozen again. Sophia's frozen. We need a Sophia is frozen. Sophia is frozen. I'm gonna take a screenshot. Beeps. Sophia is frozen. Let's see if she comes back. Catch up with everybody that's tuned in so far. Cyro's got two cats, but they're with the parents since they got married. That's right. You do have the two cats, but you have cats that come visit you. I saw one in your backyard that one time we were over there. And you didn't smuggle any cats in from Portugal, did you, Cyro? Okay. Sophia will get back on as soon as she resets her Wi-Fi again. I want to see it to you about. Oh, I'm getting to that. I want to see what she'll be able to talk about when she gets back on. I'm definitely going to ask her about that. I just don't know if because of her NDAs and everything, if she can specifically talk about that. I do want to talk a little bit about sort of the inherent racism and prejudice about reporting when a white girl goes missing as opposed to, I saw some numbers that were like 900 indigenous women. Obviously there's marches, over the feminicide in Mexico. Trans and black and brown trans women, I think it was like 600 over the last couple of years have gone missing. I saw some crazy ass numbers, but yet everything halts. And even as they were looking for her, people were like, well, what about these people that have been missing for longer than her? And we haven't seen one thing about on major news outlets. So it's really a weird sort of question about what gets the public's attention and what actually, turns the dial in terms of people um, you know, putting stuff on TV that they feel is going to get viewers, or posting things or posting articles that they feel is going to get viewers, that's going to get clicks, etc. And I just feel like it was a weird thing to sort of see how all of this sort of came about over the last several months, over the last several days as this is happening. Let's see if she's getting on. Right, we're waiting for Sofia to come on. I am going to ask her about her stuff. Doobie doobie doobie. Doobie doobie doobie. All right. Uh, we are here live waiting for Sofia to get back on. I'm your boy Lou Martinez, aka Big Chief Burrito. Making sure you guys are following us. All right, I was about to do my intros again, but here comes for the third time.
Hello! I think that might be the fourth. I'm so sorry, y'all.
That's all. Don't worry about it. That's all right. That's all right.
I'm a broke bitch with bad Wi-Fi.
Where did we leave off?
I was ranting about something. I love how it keeps cutting off as I'm in the middle of saying stuff.
Well, no, I sort of summarized that like I said, obviously the main thing is, TV networks, BuzzFeed, clickbait is all about what people are going to click on. And if there's a pretty white girl there's missing, they're going to put it on and they're going to create a spectacle around it, and they're going to promote it, and they're going to want people to click on it, and they're going to want to give you updates on it. And like I said, some of the things that people brought out, rightfully so, during this time is that feminicide is a huge problem in Mexico. It's a huge problem everywhere. Hundreds of indigenous women go missing, over the last couple of years, and very, very few of them get the sort of notoriety. Black and brown trans women have been going missing for years and have been attacked several years without a lot of fanfare. During the time that she was missing, there was a bunch of other Asian American, Latina, Black, men and women that people were like, hey, how about this guy? How about this? Why hasn't this come up? I know personally people that have been looking for missing people, and they haven't gotten the type of support that's that. So is this a white girl obsession? Is this prejudice and racism in terms of from the people that believe that a pretty white girl is the only thing that makes sense for us to obsess about in terms of missing person?
Yeah. I don't know. It's subjective for sure. I think the media has an easier time sensationalizing, if that's even a word, white girls who do YouTube. It's just a lot easier to like latch onto that, and it is frankly a kind of interesting story that I think has more information that you can squeeze out, sort of. And then with colored people, I feel like I don't know, there's less of a they expect less less of an audience to care, which is in my opinion kind of stupid, because there's more of a story to be told on actual systemic issues about people of color and their disappearances and stuff that like is actually affecting a whole community, as opposed to some YouTuber that went missing. However, everyone matters, and so I mean, do I feel bad for her having gone missing? Of course. Do I think that it has
Yeah.
to do with her whiteness that it became so famous? For sure. Also, the YouTube thing, I'm sure sprinkles a little bit of notoriety there. So I think it's just a mixed bag, and I do think that racism is kind of probably at the crux of it. As much as I hate admitting it.
I don't
What do you
feel like
think?
No, the thing is, like, I don't want to be cold-blooded about it, because
Hmm.
I obviously it's somebody's life, and
Yeah, I kind of
like
go through that motion as well.
she's a young girl. I guess the guy was probably a lot older than her, and he looked like a fucking like a
He probably.
douchebag.
You think he
He
killed
looked like
her?
a Well, of course he killed her. I mean,
Right? It's like,
of course he killed her.
but
Of course,
see, it's
absolutely,
that whole thing.
100%.
Like we love the cheeseman aspect, like like. So I think that has to do a lot with
The
the fact that it got so viral.
I just said immediately as I saw it happening, I was like, the media is gonna obsess about this because she's a pretty white
Hmm.
girl and she's missing. Like, the media is gonna go fucking nuts. And then there's the videos of their interaction with police and stuff like that. I understand it's a little bit different, but she's a pretty white girl in America and she got lost. And
Hmm.
one of the things that I okay, this is from an article on pbs.org. Um, in Wyoming alone,
Okay.
710 indigenous people were reported missing between 2011 and 2020.
That's so
So
fucking wild.
that's 700 people in 10 years that have been accounted missing. All right, that's in Wyoming,
Only. Yeah.
indigenous. Um, and there's a bunch of other numbers. I'll link the article here. So that's just like one thing, right? So when I was watching it, I was seeing in my feed, I was just scrolling through, and I was like, in my mind, it wasn't like I didn't want to say I don't care, but I was gonna say like, yeah,
It's not that
there's
important. It's not that deep.
it wasn't that important to me. I'm not the target
Mhm.
demographic, obviously, for those stories to get me to click on
Mhm.
it, but it just felt that I didn't know if I was going being cold about it, but I was like, man, that just like you're expecting the worst from the media, which is they're gonna fucking this is gonna be the
They're
next
gonna obsess.
they're
Yeah.
I think Bill
Fucking
Maher said
OJ.
was like Bill Maher said, I think he's like Nancy Grace must get like a hard on everything a pretty white girl goes missing.
Yeah.
Like she
Oh
just because
yeah.
she's got content. She's like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing on my show for the
This
next
is
fucking
content
6 months.
for
That's it.
exactly.
We're going
Yeah.
lost murdered white girl all the time, 24/7. Obviously, you feel bad for their family. You feel bad for that because of that. But we do want to get at it. I want to ask
Mhm.
Sophia a couple of things before our internet goes out again. I did want to mention a couple of things that I found that were kind of interesting online. I'm not on TikTok, but there is a TikToker that educates people about Latina trailblazers.
Ooh.
Okay, so you guys,
Here for it. Yes.
Fernanda, she what does she do? She does a
Oh, I commented. Okay, one of my comments got a lot of likes in one of her videos. I know her.
okay, Fernanda Cortez X. All right, so that's one of the
Yes.
things. I also
I
wanted to
love
shout
her.
out Pablo Reports. This is his Patreon page, but Pablo is one of the people that I've been listening to and watching in because he is an immigration reporter in Washington that's actually asking people about immigration reform. He's really putting it on. He's got a Patreon, Pablo Reports. He works for a lot of Spanish newspapers, and then he reports on Twitter a lot. So I've been watching him a lot.
Mhm.
Um, so I kind of wanted to touch base, and I'll link the article that I did, and I'll link to his page on
Yes.
my video, just because I believe that we should be promoting
Aw.
each other.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. Pablo sounds great.
but let's see. We got a okay. We got a weird comment here coming in
With a
from Good
big
Looking
butt.
Honky. Good Looking Honky. I love the name.
Good looking honky.
Uh,
Hello.
Hola from Americano
Good
Amigos.
gringo
Good
here.
gringo here. Much love. Only Hispanic senoritas amigos. No speak mucho Spanish, but good gringo amigos. Well, thank you, Good Looking Honky, for stopping by.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate all the gringo love. Much love to all the
We'll
gringos.
take all the gringo love we
We
can get.
because guess what? When I'm in Colombia, because I live in the U.S., I am
Mhm.
automatically get called El Gringo. All right, because when
Oh
you're in
yeah,
a
no,
Spanish,
same. My
yeah,
family's just like, oh,
you're the angry.
she's a gringa.
We had a question from Claudia earlier who said, "I want Sophia to
Mhm.
talk about the reality show she was on," and I said,
I
"I didn't
cannot.
know
I signed a contract. I cannot
Mhm.
talk at all. Moving on.
at all.
How about no at all?
Can
Claudia, how
you,
about you and I just hang out and we can just exchange looks?
Sire?"
Yes, no, no, not at all. Not at all. Can't say anything.
She said,
Little hi amigos.
he said, keep that for the group text. All right, fine.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
so I mean, what do you feel like is the what would you feel is the let's say they bring you into like a think tank, right? Big ass presidential think
A
tank, and they're
what?
like a think tank where people just sit around and think,
Okay, gotcha.
and they say to you, Sophia, what is the one topic facing the Latino community that you wanna focus on? We're gonna put you in charge of this. You're gonna be in charge of the focus group. What would you ask? What would you what
No, I would say fire me right away. I will find someone else who deserves it. Oh my gosh. Are you trying to cancel me? This
No,
is
I'm just saying
terrible.
they
What would
say
you say, sir? I'm turning it back on you.
I would probably say I would like to tackle representation behind the camera and in terms of production, show running, so that there was more Latinos that were running TV shows.
Representation.
Yeah, I think that would
That
be
is very
somewhere that.
fitting to you
And
and
then
us.
another
I mean, I
one,
agree.
and then another one is something that I've told you about, which is I believe because one of my main causes is animals and pit
Mhm.
bulls. And another thing that I would like, and this is something that I'm actually trying to tackle. I
Mhm.
have some ideas for some PSAs, um, but I feel that the Latino community in the United States and in South America has an unhealthy relationship with dogs
Mhm.
in what in and I believe that leads to a lot of dogs deaths because we have this thought process that we want our dogs to experience motherhood, or
Mhm.
we feel that they're less manly or they're less masculine if you cut the dog's
Yep.
balls off, and we have this really unhealthy thought process when it comes to reproduction and breeding of dogs and stuff like that. And it's something that I fought with, I think with you even, and with people in my life, about trying to get people to sort of change their thinking on it.
Mhm.
So I would work on representation behind the camera, and I would work on creating a more healthy. And I believe that just has to do with
Education.
education. I believe that just have
It
to do with
does. No,
education.
it really does. My position has since changed, by the way. Our argument was like what, like 10 years ago? How long have I known you? My
Like a
God.
long time. It was a
Fucking
long time
forever.
ago.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
and I and I and I'm proud that I got you to change your mind, or that I at least put
Hey,
you in a
you
mind frame.
planted a seeds.
Man, let's see.
Look at us growing from each
Look at us.
other.
All right,
Look
good.
at us.
Okay, so now I get to
Yeah.
change the question back to you.
Okay, I would probably I'm really passionate with just like I don't know, just immigration reform and figuring that shit out because I feel like kids in cages is not okay. And my mom had a lot to do with hands-on with working with the Haitians and all the immigrants that were kind of like migrating, the Hondurans, all of that. Remember the Hondurans fucking caravans and shit? Yeah, so she had a lot to do with that and just seeing kind of how much of a shit show stuff is there firsthand is kind of like I wouldn't know where to start, but I would like to get that fixed and more, I don't know, just representation for people that are trying to cross. Um and then whatever that entails within Congress as well to get, more rights and stuff like that. So figuring that out a little bit for sure. And then
Yeah.
another thing I'm passionate about is sex education. So comprehensive sex education, because I do think that Mexico would benefit from being less authoritarian and conservative when it comes to reproductive rights. So those are probably my two things. Yeah.
I agree. Those are
Yeah.
great things. I have a weird thing with sex and abortion and stuff like that because
Ooh,
well
we could talk about that. That's where I can maybe change your position.
no, well my thought my personal feeling has always been that I am personally against abortions personally.
Hmm.
But I feel that everybody should have the right to have them if they want. The only reason that I have a
Oh,
weird.
interesting. Okay.
So
Hmm.
I want everybody to be able to do that. That's a personal decision, right? But I do. But for example, like my mom had told me, I don't know if she told me that because she was mad at me. No, but she said she would have considered an abortion if in
Yeah. Yes.
1977 abortion was legal in Colombia. But
It
it
will.
was not.
Oh,
It,
gotcha.
it was
Yeah.
not. It was not. She would have had to get like a shady ass thing or something like that. So it was beyond the realm
Right.
of possibility. And then I guess it was for anybody around there. So that's the one thing because I wouldn't want to deny the world of me.
You're such a narcissist, Lou. Please be better. Come on.
It's a joke.
Oh,
It's a joke. It's a
yikes.
joke. I'm just saying. I mean, saying, but yeah.
It's
Um,
not. It's not.
it's not really. It's
Uh-huh.
not really a joke.
It's
It's really
not.
how it is. I really love myself.
Mhm. Continue.
But it is a thing. Like like hey, you
Hmm.
could be aborting the guy who cures cancer.
Yeah, there's that argument. Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean.
then
Like
you can also be the mother can also be the woman who cures cancer and can't because she has a kid.
exactly. So
So, yeah,
there's both
there's that.
sides to that argument, and like I said,
Mhm.
for me, it's just like I couldn't see myself. saying that, but I could also, you know what? I'm not going to say that I couldn't see my saying that because I think that I've evolved from that. All I'm saying
Mhm.
is that you brought that up, so that's why I kind of thought that, but it's definitely sorry, I said elbow
Elbow cuff.
cough. um, but I definitely believe in everybody should have the right to do it, right? Especially with
Okay.
this fucking crazy ass Texas law where anybody can sue
Yeah.
you and basically there's a bounty and basically you can say I heard Melinda went to go see a fucking doctor or she tried to buy
Yeah.
plan B pills and it was her seventh month,
It's
whatever,
crazy.
or
Like
I
you drive a friend. Do you know how many friends I've driven to Planned Parenthood? Oh my God, I'd be in jail so many times and happy about it. But I don't know. For me, I tend to be as liberal as I am and all of that. I tend to be very much like just I'm more anti-authoritarian. I don't like when people say you cannot do this. So even within, for example, the NBA and the vaccine things, like I'm vaccinated. I believe it's stupid not to get vaccinated. Those are my beliefs. I think that everyone should get vaccinated, blah, blah, blah. But I think everyone has the right to be wrong. So just because I think California and New York were the states that are not allowing their NBA player, like you can't play in that state unless you're
yeah.
vaccinated,
If you're
and
doing
they're
indoor
forcing
activities
it.
in New York or California,
Right,
you can.
right, right.
So like
And I
Kyrie
think
Irving said he's not getting vaccinated. He plays for the Brooklyn
right,
Nets,
Kyrie Irving, yeah.
so
And
he
so
would have to miss half the
as
games.
much yeah, as much as I think that like everyone should be vaccinated, that's me. I think that they should also have a way out of like maybe getting tested before playing or something like that, which is what other states are allowing. And I think that a way out is important because it's not good to be authoritarian, whether it's on the conservative you can't get an abortion or the liberal you're forcefully fucking forced to get vaccinated. Like no, it's not okay either way. So I agree that just everyone needs to have a choice and we should all be pro-choice, even conservatives. Like it doesn't make sense to me that you would want to be so strict about women's rights, but then also be like, well, don't fucking put a vaccine in me, like no, don't tell me what to do with my guns, like bro. You can't have it
As
both ways.
as we see Oso's big ass in the background. What's up, Oso?
Also, how's also doing?
He's huge, as you can see.
Yeah, what the
Uh,
fuck?
what
Me
what
gusta el eco.
my thoughts on it is I agree, like about the see, I'm in a weird position because like I got vaccinated, but as soon as they
Mhm,
said you didn't have to wear masks outside, I was like, cool. I've been
mhm.
strictly following the guidelines from the CDC. They said, you don't have to wear mask outside. Cool. You can mingle with other people. All right, cool. And then it's sort of the norm became again, and this is where I think that the left is sort of gets is where they sort of could do better because they make it super easy for the people in the right to vilify them because of the
Oh,
stances that they take.
for sure.
Because
Yeah.
even with like the ivermectin thing, like yes, there's a paste that's for horses, but there's a medicine that's for humans, and everybody just like no, it's for horses, like they
They
wouldn't
latch on
even
to like they're
they
eating
yeah,
horse.
that's
Yeah.
the talking point is that it's for horses.
Yeah, I agree. I
Don't
totally agree.
ignore the other stuff that it's an antiviral. Don't even
Let's
talk about it.
belittle them and make them look dumb. Like, no, bro, that's not
Right,
how you
right.
convince people or plant
E-
any seeds. Like, you have to
e-
have a fucking dialogue.
You have to be able to admit when your side is doing something that's stupid. You have to be able to. That's why
Exactly.
I'm a gray area guy. You know that. I
Yeah,
can try
yeah.
to find I
This
can
is
find
why
the
our
middle.
friendship works.
Yeah, so I think the powers that be that control the leftist media or whatever are the people that are like we have to just they feel I think they feel that they're right and they say we have to push the extreme agenda and now it's like okay
Mhm,
you've already told me I can walk into stores with no mask on. I got
mhm.
vaccinated in March, right? Like I've been vaccinated. So
Right.
I feel that I'm doing my part and that you've told me I don't. But now, if I don't wear a mask inside of the store, then I'm like, I'm not doing enough again, which
Mhm.
I can understand for the scientific reasons that it's not there and I could have it. But I'm like, I'm a person that doesn't leave my house a lot. I don't interact with a lot of people. Like, so it's like, now I feel that if I walk in, even though the guidelines is that I don't have to, the rules are I don't have to wear it, but I'm not wearing my mask. I don't want to get I don't want to. I don't
You
want
don't want
to.
to get canceled.
No, not I
Yeah.
don't want to get canceled, but I don't want to be confused for like a Trumpist or something like that, right? Because I'm not
Oh,
wearing a mask.
right.
You know what I'm
Didn't
saying?
that happen to you one time? I forgot what you posted, but you were like, "Oh, it's getting Trump
No, 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 no.
supporters."
What
This
I
was a long
what
time ago.
no, no, what I had done was I had posted a picture,
A It was like a
and
gray area picture
it was a
type
gray
thing,
area
and
picture. It was
yeah.
basically Trump with the Bible after he had moved all the people out of the
Uh-huh.
thing, and then Nancy Pelosi with like the African garb, like
Oh, yeah,
taking a knee.
that's what it was, yeah, 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 and
And I
how
said,
those were
and I said
paralleled.
both pictures are pandering.
Mhm.
And I didn't take a side either way, but people were just jumping down my throat saying that I was a, and I was like, dude, you don't even know me. I'm a centrist. I'm like,
Yeah. Well, I
I'm
mean, I
about,
criticized AOC yesterday, so I was like, "Oh god, people are gonna think I'm a fucking Trump supporter now."
doesn't it piss you
'Cause
off when people think that we wanted Joe Biden all along when we
it's like,
absolutely
remember the
we knew
when you
this
told
was
me about
Joe Biden.
Kamala?
We knew
Yeah.
this was it. Like on the, if you told me this, if you told me like Yang, Buttigieg, Bernie, Elizabeth, like all five names off the top of my head that I would have preferred before Joe and
Biden.
Kamala,
Yeah.
right? Those were
Yeah.
so even
Fucking
though so
Kamala.
and the best thing that Joe Biden has going for him is that he's an adult and he's not Trump. That's it.
That's true. I
He's an
will say though, I would love to give him credit because he has done something that no one else has. Fucking Obama didn't do it. Trump didn't do it. No one on any side has done it. He got us out of Afghanistan.
yeah, he's an adult
Actually,
in a room.
genuinely, I was like, bro, he actually did it. Oh my God,
Yeah,
do I actually respect him now? What? So it's like, yay, kudos, kudos. We
yeah,
got out of
yeah.
Afghanistan.
Yeah, he's super old. Yeah, he gets scatterbrained once in a while, but he's a fucking adult. He's a politician. He
Hmm.
knows how to negotiate, even though sometimes he shouldn't be negotiating. And sometimes he's downright presidential. Now,
The
I
thing is, that's
still,
ballsy. That's
yeah,
fucking ballsy to stand up
and
to
it's
the
because he's
military
in his
industrial complex.
he's
Mm.
in his late 70s. Like he don't give a fuck. Like
That's what I was gonna say. I have a feeling he has like cancer or some like fucking disease, and that's why he was like, "I'm gonna do the coolest shit ever at the end of my life, and that's bring the
no,
troops home."
he should
Because
be doing cool.
he's dying. He's probably dying.
He should be doing cool. I don't think he's gonna run for a second term, but I don't think Kamala can win on her own. I don't really don't know.
That's true. That's true. That's just my theory. That's
Pe-
my conspiracy theory. Because like
People people will take the vitriol and the hatred that they had for Hillary and they will ramp it up against her. Like it'll be the same
for Kamala.
anti Hillary concern, but with a racist element to it.
That's true, but Kamala also has the PC thing, the POC slash
Yeah.
PC thing going for her. That like the counter to that is just going to be like, oh well, you're just being racist. She's black, blah blah blah
Uh,
blah blah, and
I mean, if she gets
then we are
everybody
going to
that,
look racist because we kind of hate her. So
if we get the, if she gets the Obama vote, she would have a shot.
yeah, yeah, it's going to be along the lines of Obama, where like we weren't allowed to talk shit about him because he was the first black president, and et cetera, et cetera.
But I
I'm
do,
sorry,
but
I don't like Kamala. Okay, I don't
I
feel bad
don't.
saying that.
She didn't do a lot of good. She did. I mean, she's got a record that she has to speak for in California, and I understand why she's there, and
Mhm.
it's great for her to be there. But I do also feel that people think that me and you are like these crazy like super Democrats when we were for Bernie. We didn't know why Elizabeth Sanders fucking people stabbed him in the back. We
Fuck
didn't know
her.
we didn't know
Yeah.
why her people jumped to Biden instead of to Bernie, which would have made more sense. Bernie would
Yeah.
have gotten us out of Afghanistan. He'd be fucking doing all kinds of crazy
We'd
shit
have
right now.
Medicare for all, and the
Right.
cyst that I have on my kidney would be out, y'all. I'm in
Yeah,
pain. This
exactly.
healthcare system is
Exactly.
killing me. I'm dying.
Exactly.
Bernie, Daddy Bernie.
And
Damn.
AOC and stuff like that. The one thing that I hope that they do is, like I said, immigration. You know, it's not something that you're pro against. That's why I'm following it a lot because they talk a lot of shit about immigrants, but putting a strain on the system. But literally 0.09%,
Mhm.
less than 1% of hospital emergency room is by illegal immigrants. When they talk about the money that it costs for illegal immigrants, they're actually talking 300 something million a year. That's actually the children of illegal immigrants, which
Mhm.
are, if they're born in the United States, American, United States citizen if they're born here.
Mhm.
So you can't really know that. And you're
Right.
talking about 20 to 40 million people that have been living in the shadows that could come
Mhm.
out, pay fines, pay taxes, be added to voter rolls, be added to the tax. They put more money into the tax system that they take out. and corporations have been living off the hard work of undocumented workers in farms across all
Mhm.
fields. There's then and you look at it, there's like, what was the number I heard you? There's over 1 million undocumented Canadians living in the United States that have overstayed
Hmm,
visa and stay, or
that
like,
makes
I don't know if it's a million, but a big number of Canadians, and they don't care about that. But when they're coming through the southern border and they're brown or black, then it's then we have to do something, right?
it's because they took our
So,
jobs. They took our jobs.
but
They took our
Joe Biden
jobs.
did say he did put through. He said, well, basically the way they got out of it is that within the first 100 days in office, I'm going to put through a path through citizenship for undocumented aliens.
Mhm.
Then they said day one they put through a bill that got rejected right away, and now when they asked them, they say, well, we put a bill day one and we believe compromise.
Mhm.
Hopefully through reconciliation. What they're trying to do now is change the date, because right now it's 1978, which means even if you are an illegal immigrant, if illegal, well, although no person is illegal, undocumented,
Mm.
but
There
you've
you
been
go.
in the United States since 1978, you're automatically a citizen. So what they want to do through the parliamentarian, which all of a sudden has power, is change the date on that bill to, let's say,
Mhm.
2011, which would mean the dreamers and people that were living in the United States before 2011 can be granted citizenship. So
Right.
they're trying to solve it through that, because there's zero way, unless they get rid of the filibuster, that they would be able to pass something through the Congress and Senate.
Mhm.
So even though, yeah, Joe's got his good things, and he's an adult in a room, and I double checked, he is not Trump, which gives him a leg up on everybody else. He is
That's
physically
all he
not the same
needs.
person. We just wanted one person out because they were just, whatever you can say about some policies or a couple of things that they lucked into that worked or that were good,
Mhm.
just having somebody out of that, you can breathe easier, for a lot of people. So
Mhm.
it's just funny that people think that we're that when we're like way further left. But hopefully they do something. And if Joe's just kind of doing what he can for the right, he should do more shit. He should do immigration. He should legalize it. He should cancel student debt.
Mhm.
Right? What else?
Fucking healthcare. I need Medicare for all.
Medicare for all.
Free college. What else? I would love some universal basic income. So that'd be great. Some UBI. Let's get that in there. Let's just become Sweden. Why don't we? They're doing great. They're at the top of every GDP list, like everything, happiness index, fucking all the indices of countries around the world they're at the top of. So I say let's go like Sweden, please. Please. I
That's
have
our
a
new
sister.
slogan. America, we're like Sweden
We're
with
like
guns.
Sweden, but with guns. That makes sense. And good weather.
We're like Sweden with guns.
Could you
Uh,
imagine with how far our far right is? Like we would never, it would take generations. My God. I'd be better off just marrying a fucking Swiss person. Swiss?
yeah, I mean,
Swedish? There you go.
one of my takes all along is that, if we look at science fiction, right, as
Mhm.
what our projection is of our futures, right,
Yeah.
because science fiction and is basically predicted most of the technology that we have today, right? FaceTime, the
Except,
fact that we
yeah.
can, the fact that we can do this. This is, this is fucking, to somebody in 1950 would have been like, what,
Back to the
um
Future said there'd be flying cars by now, so I'm just saying.
I mean, we got airplanes, the same fucking thing, right?
Well,
They do have drones that are like passenger drones now, which are basically flying cars. Like,
that is true.
we can't put it in a
Sort of.
suitcase after you're done with it, but that's coming. Um, but sci-fi, and to a different extent, reggae music, I'm going to tie them together, uh,
Okay.
is
I'm
like,
intrigued.
what's the reggae music, and is well, reggae music is actually like Jamaican Christian rock, right?
Uh-huh.
It's if you listen to the lyrics about of reggae music, a lot of it has to do with Jah, it's God, it's this, it's the prophet, it's this, there's a lot of religious stuff, but it's just done in a groovy, stony vibe, right? As opposed to
Mhm.
Christian rock. And it's all about being one and one love and becoming one people. And I subscribe to the Bulworth theory, which is we should all keep fucking each other until we're the same color, right? Um, and
Love it.
uh,
Yes.
and and so I feel that it's natural that when we see these gray aliens, it's a projection of what's going to happen when we all just end up being one species, and we bang the color out of each other, right? Because if a few thousand years from now, if we just keep blah 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 mixing and mixing, we're just going to be one. We're going to be all Filipinos is the joke, right? We're all going to look like basically like a mix of all the races put together. We're all going to have like gray or brownish skin or something like that, just a mix. And then we'll expand and go to other planets, because when you see other planets, it's usually like a
Mhm.
singular sort of race that's evolved from that. So I have always found it weird that we that we sort of in one hand say, oh well, Chicanos and African Americans and Afro Latinos and white pride and Asian and this and that, and
Mhm.
it's all this thing together, but we're sort of projecting our future is a planetary race, if that makes sense, right? I think I do you think that's our future? Do you think that's our future, Sophia?
Um, I mean, yeah, for sure. I think that that has to be our future whenever the aliens finally do come. I feel like we're high in your room right now. You just told me your concept for your sequel of Alien Story 2 or something. I was like, what? Yeah. Yes,
See,
that is definitely our future, but it's like far, 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 far from now. We would have to for us as a humanity, because we are so polarized and so separated, especially whether it be by race, region, political ideologies, whatever, for us to like feel united, we would have to either become that single colored specimen, or an alien would have to, come down and cause mayhem for us to be like, yeah, we're all planet warriors. So I can see that and I love that, and you should go with it, bud, and keep writing. But not in my lifetime. That's sad. It's not gonna happen in my lifetime.
if you could, if you hit 80 and they're like, okay, we can upload your consciousness to,
Fuck yes, do it, do it. Yes, I've seen San Junipero in Black Mirror, and fuck yeah, do it right now. What
right
about
now,
you? Well, not right now. No, no, no. Like, but like when I'm 20 something, put my consciousness into my 20 something body, and then let me party for the rest of my life. What about you?
oh well, no, I meant I don't know about the partying, but I'm just
Ha-
talking about. Do
you
you
haven't
think
seen
that
San Junipero?
unlimited, I don't want to say eternal life, but unlimited life in some sort of brain wave upload
Hmm.
is possible within our lifetime,
Oh,
say next 40 years?
that's harder. That's harder. Oh, that's harder. Well, we
Yeah.
have to find the cure to cancer first, and I feel like we already have it. It's somewhere with the billionaires. I don't know, but
Joke's on you, they aborted that baby.
they aborted that baby. If only it wouldn't have been aborted.
You had your chance.
This is the podcast where we just get so canceled because we're tired and we're just rambling about like shit that we shouldn't be rambling.
That's all right.
But I think possibility. Maybe. I don't think so. I don't think it's likely that in my lifetime there will be that technology, but I fucking hope so, because I would love to live forever, y'all. I want to die.
Everybody wants to
What
live
about
forever.
you? Yeah, I'm an atheist. I don't think I'm going nowhere. I'm just gonna be on the ground doing
No,
nothing.
like it's weird because
Mhm.
I've always said I have a complicated relationship with God, in as much as like I don't I want to be an agnostic or believe in what I see, or scientific. But
Mhm.
if you think about the universe in general,
Mhm.
um, the first philosophical question is always, at some point something had to come from nothing. Or more poignantly, why is there existence? Why is
Mhm.
there anything? You know, why is there? Why does anything exist? Why is there
Right?
not just a blank page with nothing? You know, it- did at some point something come from nothing?
Mhm.
Um and we live in an infinite universe.
Yep.
So for me, that those questions don't align themselves with a universe where there is no God. Like those make more sense to me If
Mhm.
there's something more powerful than us that's pulling the strings, so to speak, right?
Right.
So even though as a human like here, I've never been a part of organized religion. I've always my parents were always my dad's a agnostic or atheist or whatever. My mom was just more spiritual, so I always got the choice whether or not I wanted to be religious. When we lived in Colombia,
Oh,
the first question people would ask me was be like, "Are you going to go get your first communion? Have you done your first communion?" And I was like, "Do I have to do that?" And my mom was like, "Do you want to?" And I said, "No." And I never had to go to church again.
mhm.
But so I've always had that weird sort of relationship with it. But yeah, but the thought that at some point something had to come from nothing and that we
Mhm.
exist, on a rock traveling through an infinite space, makes me think that two things are possible. There's more life out there, and how is something like that possible without not a God figure necessarily, but a more powerful being or a more powerful existence or something interdimensional? Does that make sense?
No, yeah, that totally makes sense. I mean, I used to be like a staunch believer in God and everything. Lol, having this is what I'm saying, dude. We are almost 2 hours into the pod. We're tired
We're
and it's a
contemplating our
Tuesday.
existence at this
Now
point.
we're contemplating our existence. How do we get here? It's supposed to be Latino. I mean, I guess religion is very Latino thing.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, no, for me, I it's funny because I agree with everything that you said that there's a possibility of a God and the universe is extensive and unlimited and we don't know something could have came from or something had to have come from from something else, like it couldn't have come from nothing, blah blah blah. I totally like agree. I think the only reason is just I have gotten very comfortable with admitting that I don't know
Yeah,
and that it is okay that I might never know, right? And so I don't feel comfortable. Faith has been something that has always been made me very uncomfortable because I don't feel comfortable saying that I'm going to live my life and on any sort of concept that I don't have any proof over. Um so I can believe that there's a God and I can believe that something came from nothing or that or vice versa, but I can also just be okay with the doubt. I don't know. I don't fucking know. And that's okay.
yeah, that's fine. I just,
Yeah.
like I said, that's always been like stuck in my head where it's like I don't know. There's
Yeah.
no way to know, and then we don't even know if at some point it'll be revealed to us.
Yeah, maybe. And all you can do is just live your life being a good person, doing with good morals and just be nice to people, man.
All right, and okay, well, yeah, that's enough of an existential crisis for me. You're not even
That was a
smoking.
lot.
You're not even
You're
smoking. What
not
are you
even
talking?
smoking. And he had to light one up.
Hits joint. At some
Pass it
point,
over,
something had to
man.
come from nothing, man.
Something had to, what if it didn't though? What if we just
Uh, you know,
I agree that there's probably aliens, so like that one I'm like, come on, the odds, come on.
the
Maybe.
older the more I think about it, the more I am jumping on the time is a flat circle sort of thing, situation where
Mhm.
everything is happening at the same time. We just perceive it as occurring over a
As like
time.
linear.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. So
Ya te pegó.
I'm the same
I'm the
as
same as
Sofia.
Sophia. Hey, thank you, lazy. Call myself an agnostic. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Yeah,
All right.
same.
I did want to share one story with you before we left. I know you have to go.
Okay.
And that is that recently I was rejected for an interview by E-list celebrity. Now the
Oh,
diff
okay. First of all, what's an E-list celebrity? Where is that even?
well, let's
I've
let's
heard
say like,
D-list, but that's lower.
well, who's a D-list celebrity?
Uh, I would have said Aquafina back in her MTV
Mm.
days,
Well, you'd say
but
like
now she's an
Fabio.
A-list.
Fabio's a
Fabio's a
D-list.
D-list. Yeah, Fabio's a solid D-list for sure.
He's like the definition of a D-list. Like he's not Tom
Yeah,
Cruise, he's not A-list, he's not gonna get super popular, but you
he's
recognize him.
Fabio. You know
He's
Fabio.
you recognize him, but you don't know.
Yeah,
Now, an E-list celebrity is somebody like that, but you have to explain to you who they are, and
gotcha.
then you go like, oh, okay. So E-list is for
Mm,
explain. So here's the scenario. I'm not gonna say who it is, obviously, but you know,
No, damn it. Can you tell me like once we're done?
I could tell you offline. Yeah. So this person is an actor, and that is a non-gender name. Gender name. He's a
Yeah.
it's an act. This person is an actor,
Mm,
and they are more of a sort of a semi-celebrity in specific genres.
okay.
So they're basically like a DE list sort of type celebrity, but in certain genres and types of films, they might be considered somebody more popular because there's more of a fan through the to
Mhm.
the fans of that. The same way Fabio to romance genres and readers would be more right because they see him on their book
So
cover
they
and
have like
stuff
a
like
niche. They have a specific
that.
audience.
Right. So, and I've
Mhm.
done 50 interviews, and I did another 20 interviews for the film festival, and I'd done another 100 interviews before this. So I've done a lot of work interviewing people. I know how to, talk about people's journeys, but also make time to promote their work, make sure that they feel that they're having a good conversation, but it also they're there for a reason to promote their stuff. So I noticed that this person or their team continue to post every day links to like their Patreon page and other things that they have to try to support them as an artist, basically
Mhm.
asking for money every day. I checked their Patreon page. They have 6 supporters, right? 6 total
Okay.
people
Mhm.
that are contributing.
That's
They're
some
making
help.
me like 40, $50 a month off of that. And then
Okay.
this is the, and I've had interactions with these people before, their team and them. And I was like, I would like to have XYZ on to promote their work, promote their Patreon that I see you guys are publishing, and and uh, and sort of talk about their journey in acting, other categories, stuff like that. Boom, boom, boom.
Mhm.
In exchange, and I got like an hour later, I had the message back, and they said this person does not do free interviews.
Oh, okay. But he needs they need money. They
They're
have a
asking for
Patreon
money.
and
They
they could
have
use the publicity.
they're asking for money every day,
Okay, so they're
and they're
charging
not
you.
burning up the charts. With better management, with better representation, and with better
Mhm.
understanding of their place in entertainment, this person could get in onto the D list, right?
Yeah.
So I said, out of curiosity, how much do you charge? The reason I'm asking is because I've interviewed hundreds of people, different levels of people have turned me down, but I've never been asked to charge. Like I spoke to Nick Mangold, who's a Hall of Famer. He played for the New York Jets. He made over $70 million
Right.
dollars in career earnings. He came on. We talked about football. We talked about his barbecue sauce. I talked to
Oh.
Julito McCullum from The Wire, season 4, recognized actor.
Yeah,
We talked about the
yeah,
Knicks.
that one.
Like
Yeah.
so I don't want to like say like I'm insulted that you don't want to come on my show. People have told me they don't want to come on my show. That's fine. That's completely fine. I actually appreciate the people that tell me right away instead of just like dragging along. But I was like, I'm just curious. How much do you charge for an interview on a podcast when you're
Yeah,
asking
that's
for money every day?
yeah.
Right. So then they told me they told me very poignant. They told me very quickly, I would explain to you, but I do not want to. And I said,
No, they didn't even give you a quote, like they didn't give you a number?
no, no. Well, I don't know. I said, like, I just out of curiosity, how much do you charge? Because I've
Okay.
I've I've had a lot of people on, and I've never had this happen. So I want to make sure I'm approaching people the right way.
Right.
But but we ended on good terms because I was like, listen, I wish you guys the best. I just kind of saw that you guys were promoting stuff, and I figured, I could get the interview, and you guys could use because then not only are you live, and we've had maybe 20 to 50 different people engage with the stream live as I record,
Right.
as I'm looking at the numbers, but then every Facebook video gets 3 to 500, and then between if I promote them, I can get 3 to 5,000 different views, and then we're averaging probably 15 to 20 downloads a day on pods from new and old pods. So they'll people will listen.
Humble brag.
Pe- people will this will and then you can have this and you can say here's XYZ talking about the new movie he's raising money for. He, whatever. Here's XYZ.
Oh, you let us slip. Okay.
Okay, it's a man, right? So here's here's
I
here's
knew it.
XYZ talking about their Patreon page. Like
Mhm.
I tell people all the time, use clips, use whatever you want from my show, because I'm going to ask you questions where you'll be able to talk and promote what you're doing. Like I always do that with people.
Mhm.
So I didn't know if it was like short-sighted, bad management, thinking too much of themselves,
I think that's what it is, more so.
like, or just because I feel in 2021, if you're not going on podcasts and you're not doing like viral stuff that you can theoretically go viral with, it's kind of hard
Mhm.
for, right?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And then if they're at the level where they're still needing to ask money, like on Patreon, and they
Mhm.
only have, you said, 4 people or something like that,
Six.
six. Yeah, so then like this is just free promotion at that point. It's like que te cuesta, just. So
You can
anyway,
put
to each their own. Maybe I think they just probably think too highly of themselves, and that's okay. So to each
yeah.
their own. But I'm interested to know if they gave you a number. What were
No,
they charging?
they didn't give me a number. And
Damn it!
this is somebody that has sat in this room with me and their representation, and they were like, look, this person is willing to intern and work for 2 a.m. burrito for
What?
free. Yeah, they at one point they were willing to work for us for free, and they were supposed to help us shoot some stuff and be in some projects. And I was like, well,
Oh my god, is this the one
if
I know? Now I'm okay. Now I'm terrified.
no, you don't know.
Okay.
I said this is I said if you allow me to use your little celebrity to put you in a project, then I will help you. And basically what they had is they had somebody who said if you get work, I'll pay you, like somebody who's a fan of theirs. This is not somebody you would
Ooh.
like. I could tell you it's this person from this movie, and you would immediately know who I'm talking about. So, like I said,
Mhm.
that's why I said it's an E list. It's not somebody that's well known that would be ABC, or and then they're not D list
Right,
because
right,
they're
right.
not really like that type of
They're
person.
not that big.
There's somebody
They
that
can make
you
it
would
big.
know if I told you where you knew them from, and you would say, okay, that makes sense, but you wouldn't necessarily recognize their name.
All
You would
right.
only recognize their name if you were in that genre sort of group of people that
I'm dying of fucking suspense. So.
I'll tell you about it later. But anyway, I just wanted to share that story. That was just kind of like a funny rejection. Like I've had other people that I'm like, hey, do you want to be on my podcast? And they're like, I've done too many recently, man. I'm sorry, I can't do that. Or like, no, you're too vulgar. No, nobody's ever said they're too vulgar. Like I had like one of the most like when I did the interview with the girl that the one armed Cinderella, that she was like, oh, you were cool, don't worry about it. Like she does like Christian shows and Catholic shows and like other shows, and then she comes on my show and then she's like, no, I had a lot of fun. I'm like, all right, cool, I can talk to
Oh,
anybody.
that's yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
that's
That's awesome. All
anyway,
right.
my voice is gone.
Yep.
We've done 2 hours, which is kind of on the low end for us. Usually we
It
talked
is.
about a
I feel
lot.
like, did we do a 4 hour one time?
Yeah, we did 4 hours
We
once.
were younger then.
It was earlier in the pandemic. uh Big shout out to Cyro and Dizzy Miss Lizzie for
Dizzy
stopping
Miss
by, as
Lizzie.
well as Good Looking
Mhm.
Honky. Thank you for stopping by, Lizzie. Thank you for hanging.
Good night.
I appreciate the support as always.
Yes.
Um, but thank you for joining us.
Oh, always a
As
pleasure, as always.
as always, you can always come on any episode, anytime. You're more than
Any. I'm gonna
any.
cash
Yeah,
that in. Okay, I'm just gonna.
I mean, shit. We can do this. We can do this weekly when you're not super worried. Uh,
I'm
we're
almost done
busy.
with grad school, guys. I'm almost done.
Almost done. All right. Get your wife Wi-Fi. I will talk to you soon, and I'll give you the cheese man if you hang around. If not, if you have to go, then don't worry about it. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, sounds
All
good.
right,
Oh
guys.
my god.
All right. Th-
Bye. Bye from
Thank you, everybody, for
quarantine.
hanging. Peace out.
Thank you.